Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 24 career mode. This is episode number 42 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 3. The 2027 season got underway last time out, down under for round 1 at the Australian Grand Prix. Be sure to go check that one out, and the pre-season episode still, if you haven't caught up with that, to get clued up on all the different driver transfers, the 3 new teams added to the grid for this season, and then of course all the action from the opening round, which was jam-packed with action, with the new racing mod working really well around Albert Park, and a 3 million IQ play, I must say, with the late safety car at the end to go on softs, go aggressive, make some very, very punchy moves, and spoiler alert, we came through for a huge W. P1, we have won our first race with the Silver Arrows. What a way to start a new partnership with Mercedes, as a Mercedes Works driver, I might add as well. Fastest lap as well, so we've got the maximum points, 26 on offer. Yeah, it was a really great day for us. You know, Russell scored 0 points. He had a few struggles in that race, so, you know, compared to our teammate especially as well, you know, we asserted ourselves as the reigning champion coming into this team. It's still really early days in the season to know a true pecking order, but clearly Red Bull did look strong, and if it wasn't for the safety car, maybe it would have been a very different story. And you had a couple of other surprises in there. Audi already getting off the mark then with 1 point with Valtteri Bottas. McLaren not looking too hot since we left them, with even Williams outscoring them in the first race, but it was the first race of a new season. You know, crazy things happen. Reliability issues were out there, obviously, because our old teammate Lando Norris suffered a DNF, so yeah, it's going to take a couple of races to really see what this season's looking like, and also to see truly if this improved AI and racing mod is you know, taking a positive effect to the racing. But hopefully you'll agree, for sure in that first episode, it definitely was. But going to round 2 then, as we look ahead to the Japanese Grand Prix, Russell had purchased a minor engine power upgrade, which has failed, so we will repurchase that for him, and hopefully he will use his R&D to purchase something else, because although I am the reigning champion, because he's been at the team for so long, he's still got the recognition over me, so hopefully I'm trying to nudge him to buy something else, basically. Before we dive into the race weekend, you'll notice we've got a fresh lick of paint for our helmet in this episode. This is actually a special Hilton X aarava helmet design just for this one episode, because today's video is actually sponsored by Hilton, and there'll be more on them later on. And now we're going to take a quick look at the R&D chart before we head on into qualifying, and you can see some big changes from the first round even, and that momentum and progress that I thought Audi were taking through from the winter after turning from Sauber to Audi looks like it's completely plateaued, because Toyota, Williams, Haas all overtake Audi. And meanwhile in the top pack, Aston Martin getting a little bit closer to McLaren and Red Bull, who are both still level pegging with equal upgrades into Suzuka. Ferrari and ourselves do bring updates, but Ferrari are right on us. But it is so tight in that top battle, just as tight as it is in that midfield battle. So I think we're going to have 2 very closely matched groups maybe in the race, as we kind of saw a little bit in Australia. But let's see how it works out in qualifying first of all. Let's go into Saturday.
A warm welcome everybody from a venue that has seen plenty of sensational laps over the years. Remember, Verstappen in 23, Vettel in 2019, some phenomenal pole laps. But whose will it be today?
Suzuka, a very different circuit to Albert Park, of course. Albert Park more of a street circuit classification. Suzuka, thoroughbred, purpose-built venue, a lot higher speed. So let's see how the Mercedes fares around our competitors. I have a feeling Red Bull, especially Verstappen, after the way the end of last race unfolded, he'll have the bit between his teeth to make up for it, because he probably should have won that race, but of course the safety car really threw a curveball, and we were quick on our feet thinking about making that late pit stop. But we're coming out now for our first flying lap, and just to let you guys know and confirm, as we did mention and discuss in the first episode of this season, we have now moved to short qualifying for this season onwards, because with the improved AI and racing mod, the only way it works properly in qualifying is if you actually allow the AI to physically do their laps with no fast forwarding, no simulations. And so just to make the recording and the entire race weekend a bit more efficient for myself to actually play through rather than just sat there watching AI go round and round, we're going to be doing short qualifying from now on. It means that we actually get the legitimate lap times from the AI, and yeah, I'm just not wasting time basically just watching the virtual screen from my virtual cockpit of the Mercedes for many minutes, just watching, well, a lot of the time nothing happening, because there are large parts of quali where the AI and me aren't even out, kind of like real F1, where there's some lull periods where everyone seems to try and time it the best, and they always end up timing it where they all go out at the same time anyway. Our lap done, and now we're on our first flying lap. And you may have noticed though on the bottom right, if you were paying attention, I actually forgot to make sure my ERS was on none, which means by the end of this first flying lap, I actually don't have enough battery to deploy fully as much as I wanted to on the lap. We had to save a little bit and not use overtake mode, and as we come through to the line, it's only P8 and it'll be down to P14. That first lap was really not good, and I think a large part of that is due to the ERS, the fact I didn't keep it on none on the outlap. So that's at least one thing I have to actually watch out for now. No longer am I going onto a flying lap, so I have to manually make sure I'm saving the ERS, which obviously is quite realistic. Obviously they have to do that in real life to make sure they recharge everything and get themselves prepared, and prepared I was on the second flyer. We gained just over a tenth in the first sector, a few more tenths now through the middle into the last sector where we're gaining time on the straight, and by the end of the lap we're over 7 tenths gained. It was a very important second flying lap to get us up into P4, but although it is better, a better position on the grid than Australia, in many ways I actually don't feel like the car was as comfortable around Suzuka as it was to Albert Park. Of course, we had that rain issue in the first round, so that kind of dampened where we should have actually truly been on one lap pace, whereas here, no, nothing like that. But even though we're P4, I think honestly we got the maximum out of the car. Maybe the likes of Hamilton didn't get the maximum, and the Aston Martins definitely look weaker around here than they were at Albert Park. So that's one team, two cars maybe out of contention that maybe should have been ahead of us, would have been ahead of us if it wasn't for track-to-track dependency. But you know, that's the same for everyone, you know. So clearly Aston Martin taking a back step, maybe we've taken a back step and feeling comfortable. Verstappen certainly hasn't on pole position, but let's just see how it goes into the race. Let's go to the grid.
Welcome along to the legendary Suzuka. This classic racetrack boasts a long history dating right back to 1962 when it was first opened. Will more history be written here today at the Japanese Grand Prix? A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles. It's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 circuit, and the drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. Keep an eye out for overtakes into the final chicane. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, a Mercedes, Hamilton, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Perez, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Albon, Joe, Behrman, and Logan Sargent. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you know, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, you know, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, you know, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
It's looking a little bit overcast out there, but there's no rain to fall, and it will be getting sunnier as we get on. We're starting on the hard compound tyre, going very differently at the start of this race. But before I explain my strategy just a little bit more, here's a message from our sponsor. Yep, like I said earlier, this video today is sponsored by Hilton, and that is why we have a very special one-off helmet for today's episode. And for those of you who do follow me over on Instagram and TikTok, this will be no surprise that I'm working with Hilton, as I've been working with them for now over a year, really, actually. My first time was last year's British Grand Prix, and since then I've had some amazing stays with Hilton, which is their ethos. It's Hilton for the stay, and they have shown me consistently, time and time again, when you're an F1 fan, it really matters where you stay, and Hilton delivers on that, especially. You guys may have seen the vlogs I did for the Las Vegas Grand Prix last year and this year's Miami Grand Prix, where I got to see Lando get his first ever F1 race win, and that was all thanks to Hilton. It was just insane what you can get as a Hilton Honors member, and you could get involved with these very unique and one-of-a-kind experiences that Hilton has in partnership with McLaren, because Hilton Honors members get access and the ability to get these experiences. So go to the Hilton website, use the link down below in the description, and book a stay today. And definitely check out the Hilton Honors website as well, because you can upgrade your stay. And as an F1 fan, if you were to do it for a race weekend around a Grand Prix, I mean, take it from me, the experiences have been incredible. You would have seen them in the vlogs, and the amount of good service you get in Hilton hotels, the dedication of time and attention, just the little details around the hotel. If I think back to my stay in Las Vegas, they went to so much effort to put all these like F1 cars and like these, you know, checkered flag stuff, just to make it feel and kind of give you that extra buzz that you're here for a race weekend. You're not just here for a normal hotel stay, which would still be great anyway at a Hilton. So like I said, go check out the link down below in the description, because take it from me, Hilton really is for the stay. I mean, they're the best brand I've worked with, honestly. I am ready to get for the stay tattooed on me somewhere, because they just don't miss with the experiences, and you would have seen that if you follow me over on social media. Like, it's just been mad. Anyway, let's get back on with the rest of the video. We've got a race to do. So we're not the only ones starting on the hard tyres. Leclerc has also opted for that ahead of us in second place, and although we are going to be slower, obviously, initially at the start of the race, and even especially in these colder conditions with the overcast weather, it may be a factor. That's why I'm trying to warm up my tyres as much as I can on this formation lap. But we can ideally not lose positions or time, be it. We'll be getting paid back in dividends on the medium tyres then when others are on the hard, and that will be when we're on lower fuel. So I just feel like it's a better vibe, especially around a circuit like Japan where track abrasion is high, the tyre wear is there. I mean, I don't think we're going to see anyone use the soft compound, for example. It was a potential strategy if you wanted to do a 3-stop, but I just don't think a 3-stop would work around it on this game unless you had some incredible pace. So yeah, myself and Leclerc trying the same thing. Obviously, maybe not exactly what you want matching Ferrari, but let's see. And of course, we did make the right call in Australia with the tyre choice, so hopefully here, long-term play at the start of the race, we've made the right choice here today. But we're not going to know which is the right choice until we get to the end of the 27 laps ahead of us as we go to 5 red lights. The Japanese Grand Prix is underway. It's a slow getaway for myself and Verstappen, but we get mugged off on the left and the right. Hamilton and Russell, former teammates, go either side of me, and we're down 2 positions. This is what I feared. The hard tyre really not being too great off the line, and this is the worst scenario for us, losing 2 positions there. Verstappen, to be fair to him, on the mediums also had a slow start, and Leclerc on the other side of hards, he almost actually overtook Verstappen because Max had to cover him off so aggressively on the inside line. So there was some performance there, but I just did not get the start right. All that kind of extra work I did just before we set the grid to try and get some heat in the tyres clearly just didn't work, and now we're looking at the back of our teammate's rear wing as Hamilton gets the move on Russell. They had a lovely little side-by-side battle in the S section in Sector 1, but now as we get to the end of lap 1, Verstappen trying to check out of this race, it would seem, as he's nearly 2 seconds ahead of Leclerc, and the thing is, you can already tell, I think Leclerc, although he got a good start, He is slower, and he's holding up Lando, and now Hamilton, and maybe even Russell, as we all start to form up behind. But Stroll nearly going for a move on me. We have to go defensive and pinch the Canadian, as this is the first time I'm sensing just a little bit that with the change to ERS and the improved AI mod, we're starting to see, though, some old coding of the AI, like it was the case in F1 22, coming back now with the old ERS system where they're so good on acceleration. But it wasn't really too present in Australia, so I think it's going to be very track-to-track dependent as we see someone else struggling is Carlos Sainz, just ahead of the two Toyotas of Tsunoda, Ricciardo, ahead of Hulkenberg, Albon, Zhou Guanyu in the second Audi, and then Sargent and Behrman bringing up the rear with high-tech GP lining astern, but still keeping up with the pack at least. But look at that, Verstappen very much pulling away, and Leclerc cannot keep up with him. And that's, I think, a combination of Verstappen, the Red Bull, and those hard tyres. But we just need to, and I say we, me and Leclerc, as Russell locks up, might be a little bit under pressure as we're trying to apply it to Russell. But yeah, me and Leclerc, we just need to bide our time around lap 6. That's when the mediums will start to wear out and will be on the better race tyre. But at the moment, it is struggle town. The hards, you can see there. I mean, yes, I tapped the curb, but there's just not too much balance on the hard tyres. It's not giving enough grip, especially in these colder, overcast conditions. I fear the hards aren't working too well right now. So this is backfiring for me and Leclerc. I mean, look how slow Leclerc is there. He is really struggling. He's like a mobile chicane right now. And unfortunately, even the improved AI racing mod can't help us out here, as everyone is stuck in a train at the moment behind Leclerc. Verstappen is capitalizing on this absolutely, and I'm trying desperately to save as much ERS as I can, as you saw on the bottom right there, going to none in every single slow corner to try and build up the battery to make a move on Russell at some point, because I think around now I feel like the hards should start to rubber in. Although for Leclerc that clearly isn't the case, as Lando is all over him now with DRS open for a third time. Can he get the move done? I think he will. Aggressive to the inside, and Lando punches it down the inside, as do we on Russell. We come in with the kamikaze dive bomb, and that was just out of pure frustration and a bit of inspiration from seeing our old teammates make the move on Leclerc, and we forced our way through into P5. We've made it happen.
George is in the car behind you.
No
They are
way.
faster than you. They are faster than you. Let them through, please.
Are kidding me. It's happened again, but now with a different team.
Hey, mate, and that's Lando behind. They're faster than you, mate. They're faster than you, so let them through, please.
What? And with Alonso creeping back up into the top 5, this is a crucial win that we absolutely have to aim
Okay,
for.
mate, and that's Lando behind.
What?
They're faster than you, mate. They're faster than you, so let them through, please.
I'm a bit shell-shocked right now. We're only in our second race with Mercedes, and they're pulling rank with Russell. Well, we're not having any of it. We dive down Hamilton, and
Right, your teammates drop back a bit, so forget about them for now
Thank you.
and focus on your own race. Head down.
yeah, thought so, Mark. That's a bit more like it. We dive down the inside of Hamilton, and on cue, Mark then shuts up and says, okay, you know what? Okay, you've got some pace. You can go ahead. So, yeah, that was a bit frustrating. And, you know, it's laughable because look at the move I made on Russell. Like, this does not scream, oh, the guy who got overtaken is the quicker car. Like, I came from so far back, caught him sleeping, caught him napping into turn 1, and Mark and the team, my new team, has the audacity to say to let him by, as Hamilton comes back at me, showing the pace that Red Bull and their Ford technological partner PU has there, because the Red Bull is so quick in a straight line, quicker than our own teammate, quicker than the Ferrari, quicker than Aston for sure, because the Red Bull's really been the only car so far that has really properly hounded me in a straight line. I mean, Stroll, I know, had a little look, but it wasn't side by side like Hamilton. But we're now behind Leclerc, our fellow hard tyre runner. We absolutely need to pass him because he's clearly not got the pace I've got on the hards. Verstappen is 7 seconds ahead of Lando. That's still doable. I feel like we could gain 7 seconds back on mediums when others on hards later in this race. But to do that, we need to get past Leclerc absolutely ASAP is behind us. Russell is now slowing. He's got a car issue, and he's now falling behind Lance Stroll. So I can't believe doubly so Mark was suggesting I should let him back through because he's got an issue now with his car. So he's going to be so slow, and Stroll is now up to P6. By the way, Alonso having a very quiet race, having got pole position in the opening round. Very quiet afternoon here in Suzuka as Lewis comes back through for the overtake in the Red Bull. We go back around the outside. It's wheel to wheel, real close stuff with our fellow compatriot. Oh, look at that. Both of us in unison wagging the tail of our cars as we wring the neck out of it. We drive to the limit and we stay ahead of Hamilton, but it's no easy mean feat, and for sure he's going to be a bit more pressurized to overtake us, seeing his old team, in the form of the Mercedes car, obviously around us, as we now get the hurry up to overtake Leclerc. Does genuinely, for me, I think, in these career modes, give me that bit of motivation, because sometimes I lose a bit of concentration of what's going on in the race. And actually this year, on this year's game, having those little moments where Mark tells you to hurry up and overtake that person, genuinely, to try and get that immersion going, does actually help me out of like, okay, come on, let's get a move on here. Let's get this overtake. But you can see I'm really struggling for acceleration. So on this track, compared to Albert Park, definitely it's feeling very F1 22-ish at the moment with the AI OP acceleration in the lower gears, but I'm trying my hardest. Hamilton is pulling through, looking for a half move, doesn't go for it. Leclerc susceptible, we use a bit more battery. He leaves the door open, we go for the move on the outside. It's going to be a real lovely pass on the Ferrari, needs must, as we get up into P3, but now Leclerc comes back at us. Hamilton with DRS as well. We've not got too much battery to use. Leclerc on the right, Lewis on the left. It's 3 wide, but we're going to manage to just defend and get back ahead of both of them. No! No, you're kidding me! It's a smoke screen of engine smoke from the back of our car. You are kidding me! In the second race only, in our Mercedes, it gives up. It gives up on us, and we have to park it after we just had a really great 3 wide moment there. 3 different teams, real close to Lewis, and the engine gives out then. F1, man. Racing's tough. Racing is tough. There is no fairy tale sometimes, and it is cruel. From a race win to a DNF, and Verstappen can now dominate this race. And to be fair, all round, it's a bad day for Mercedes because Russell had a car issue, obviously. So as I was fighting Hamilton and Leclerc, he was getting overtaken by Alonso. He's already been done by Perez. So it's probably a double points, no points finish for Mercedes today. Real rotten luck at Suzuka. At least we get to go back to the hotel early, huh? And enjoy the Hilton, I guess. That's a silver lining there, I guess.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
A great display of dominance today, Crofty, by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
Of course, it's very early days in the championship, but Verstappen bounces back, hits back, and Red Bull look menacing. Of course they are. Verstappen and Hamilton as a partnership, that is deadly, and I think they are truly going to be the team to beat just because of the drivers, let alone the car. But we know we have a good car. It's just unfortunate this weekend. Both cars had issues. Mine was fatal. Russell's just a temporary one, but it is what it is. That's racing. But if you have enjoyed this one, though, still nonetheless, be sure to hit the like button, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.